thrown around here. And what else are lawmakers working on right here, right now? Again, because they understand this whole affordability push. Yes, you've heard me talk about this a little bit recently, where I've said, mark my word on this, 2026 is going to be the year of affordability. That's going to be the tagline of 2026. Affordability, affordability. We're going to hear it all the time because that is the major pressing issue with the American population right now. Speaking of that, as I talk here, I'm going to pop up some comments on the screen. I have pages and pages of comments here from those of you in this community that have called chapter right there, who are on Medicare, getting free help with your Medicare, getting the right and the proper Medicare plan and coverages for you and your personal needs, getting help with your initial enrollment into Medicare, getting your questions answered on Medicare, whatever it happens to be. About 10,000 of you in the last year have called chapter right there to get free help with your Medicare. Absolutely amazing. So as I'm talking here, I'll pop a bunch of those comments up. And again, I have about, I don't know, a dozen or so pages here of comments that I pulled out just in the last, call it 2 months or so. Amazing. Anyway, I'll have those up on the screen here as I'm talking. You can feel free to read through the comments. Amazing stuff. If you're on Medicare, just make sure to call chapter there. And I'd love to hear from you. Just make sure to use the keyword chapter within your comments so I can find it, and I'll add it to my list here, and I'll feature you in upcoming videos. All right, anyway, so this is obviously the tax filing season right here, right now, okay? So basically now, well, it actually started back on January 26th, to be fair. January 26th, it was a Monday. That's when the IRS started accepting federal tax returns to be submitted, right? So it takes a little while, but that money does start flowing, and some people are starting to see that hitting their bank accounts. And again, the big bulk of that money has not even been sent out yet. Just some of that money is starting to trickle in now. There's going to be a whole lot more coming, a whole lot more coming. Like I said, based on the remarks out of the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, they're anticipating upwards of $200 billion plus to be distributed basically over the next couple months here, which is honestly really exciting. That's a lot of money for a lot of people. But anyway, basically from January 26th through obviously tax day, April 15th, all of our favorite day in the whole world, right? No, not at all. I mean, unless you're getting one of these huge refunds, then maybe it's a cool day, but most people are probably thinking, no, don't love that day. But anyway, April 15th obviously being tax day. So during that, what is that? I don't know, 2.5 months or so, give or take. Is that about right? Yeah, a little more than 2.5 months. Just kind of, roughly adding here. A little more than 2.5 months is this time frame in which people are filing their 2025 federal tax returns and state tax returns if they just so happen to be in a state where they need to do that. And then obviously all this money is flowing around. But according to the remarks that we've heard, again, out of the president, multiple people within the administration, the Treasury Secretary, multiple different people, we've continuously heard over and over that apparently this year, 2026, as people are filing their 2025 federal tax returns, that this is going to be the biggest refund year in the history of this country. Well over $4,000 flowing to the average person in their refund. Obviously, it's going to vary a ton. Some people are going to get nothing. Some people are going to pay in a whole boatload. Some people are going to get 1,000, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even up to 20 grand, like the president said, which, by the way, I'd like to know who those people are. Who is getting $20,000 back? It's I can anticipate this much. It's going to be a very, very, very small percentage of the population, but apparently that's what's going to be happening to some of them, okay? Now, going forward throughout the year as well, we heard this out of the Treasury Secretary, is that apparently, because of the big tax cut bill that was signed into law back on July 4th of 2025, that a lot of people didn't have their withholdings adjusted at that time, right? But now that we're in the new year, people apparently have adjusted their withholdings or will be adjusting their withholdings. Therefore, throughout the course of 2026, because of those changes within that massive reconciliation bill, the tax cut bill that was signed into law on the 4th of July last year, 2025, as people adjust their holdings, or their withholdings, I should say, that they're going to withhold less money, therefore more money flowing into their bank account every single month because of higher paychecks, and therefore these huge refund payments as well. So they're talking about a ton of money. Now, at the same time, I also want to allude to this as well. Lawmakers were just recently out this month, right here this month, they were out indicating that they're working on the next reconciliation bill, okay? Another big reconciliation bill, just like they did in the summer of last year. This is a single party bill. In other words, since Republicans have control of everything right now, the House, the Senate, and the presidency, they have this ability to use reconciliation where they can basically get virtually anything. Now, there are some restrictions. There are some things they legally cannot do within reconciliation, but basically they can get almost anything they want done within a reconciliation bill with a simple majority vote, not only in the House, but in the Senate as well, and then pass it on to the president and turn it into law, just like they did with the massive reconciliation bill this past summer. They're already doing it right now, and they've indicated that they need to have meaningful progress on that piece of legislation before the end of this month, with a time frame of passage sometime between late spring and early summer. Let's see if they can do it, because I've said this before many times. Their timing is critically important right now, okay? Americans are getting irritated.